Many people understand English but struggle to speak fluently. The biggest problem is hesitation. People are afraid of making mistakes or don't know what to say. But the truth is, talking in English is easy when you practice the right way. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to memorize difficult words. You just need to speak every day in simple, natural English. Below, I will explain each tip in detail to help you become a fluent speaker. 1. Start speaking from today. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is waiting for the perfect moment. They think, I will start speaking after I learn more grammar, or I will speak when my English is perfect. This thinking delays your progress. The truth is, your English will never improve if you don't speak. What to do? Start speaking today. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Talk to yourself in English. Describe your day, your thoughts, and your plans. Even if you only know a few words, use them. Fluency comes with practice, not perfection. The more you speak, the more confident you become. 2. Think in English. Many people translate from their native language to English when speaking. This slows them down because their mind is working in two languages. For example, you want to say, I am going to the market in English. Your brain first thinks in your native language, then translates it into English. This takes time and creates hesitation. What to do? Train your brain to think directly in English. Start with simple sentences like, It is a beautiful day. I am feeling hungry. This coffee tastes great. When you see objects, think of their English names instead of your native language. At first, it will feel difficult, but with practice, English thoughts will come naturally. 3. Talk to yourself. If you don't have anyone to practice with, talk to yourself. Why is this helpful? You train your mouth to form English words. You become comfortable speaking English alone before talking to others. It helps build fluency and confidence. What to do? Stand in front of a mirror and talk. Imagine you are having a conversation. Describe your daily routine in English. Today, I woke up early. I brushed my teeth. I had breakfast. Pick a random topic and speak about it for 2 minutes. This practice makes real conversations easier because you are already used to speaking. 4. Use simple words and sentences. Many learners think that using big words makes them sound smart, but the truth is, fluent speakers use simple and natural words. For example, instead of, I am experiencing extreme exhaustion, say, I am very tired. What to do? Focus on clear, simple English. Speak the way you would in a normal conversation. Use common, everyday words instead of difficult vocabulary. Fluency is about speaking smoothly, not using difficult words. 5. Learn common phrases. Fluent speakers don't always use full sentences. They use common expressions in daily conversation. For example, instead of saying, How are you? Say, How's it going? Instead of, I don't understand, say, I don't get it. Instead of, That's very interesting, say, That's cool. What to do? Learn useful expressions and practice them in conversations. Watch English movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos and note how people talk. Try to repeat and use these phrases in real conversations. 6. Speak slowly and clearly. Many learners think that speaking fast means speaking fluently. That's not true. If you speak too fast, you make more mistakes and people don't understand you. What to do? Speak at a comfortable speed. Focus on clear pronunciation instead of fast speech. Take pauses between sentences so your speech is easy to understand. Speaking slowly helps you speak correctly and confidently. 7. Watch and copy native speakers. Fluency is not just about knowing words. It's about how you say them. Listening to native speakers helps you learn natural speech patterns. What to do? Watch English movies, TV shows, or interviews. Listen to how people pronounce words and form sentences. Repeat after them and try to copy their accent and rhythm. This helps you sound more natural and fluent. 8. Record your voice. Many people don't realize their mistakes until they hear themselves speaking. What to do? Record yourself speaking in English. Listen and check for pronunciation errors or hesitations. Try to speak more naturally the next time. Over time, you will notice improvement in your fluency. 9. Join English conversations. Practicing alone is good, but real conversations are the best practice. What to do? Join an English-speaking group, online or in person. Talk to friends or colleagues in English. Practice speaking with language exchange partners. The more you talk to real people, the more confident you become. 10. Don't fear mistakes. Many learners fear making mistakes, so they avoid speaking. But making mistakes is part of learning. What to do? Accept that mistakes are normal. Even native speakers make mistakes. Focus on communicating, not perfection. Learn from mistakes instead of being afraid of them. The more you practice without fear, the faster you improve. More tips to make talking in English. Easy 11. Use shadowing technique. Shadowing means listening and repeating what native speakers say immediately. This helps you improve pronunciation, fluency, and sentence structure. How to do it? Pick a short video, movie clip, or podcast in English. Listen carefully and try to repeat the sentences immediately after the speaker. Focus on intonation, stress, and pronunciation. Do this daily for 5 to 10 minutes. Why is this effective? Your brain absorbs natural English patterns without memorizing rules. You develop a better accent and rhythm in speaking. It trains you to think and respond quickly in English. 12. Read aloud every day. Reading aloud helps your mouth and tongue get used to English pronunciation and makes speaking more comfortable. How to do it? Choose an English book, news article, or short story. Read each sentence aloud and focus on clear pronunciation. Record yourself and listen to your pronunciation. If you don't know a word, check the correct pronunciation and repeat it. Why is this helpful? It improves your speaking speed and pronunciation. You feel more comfortable forming sentences. You become familiar with natural English sentence structures. 13. Use a word diary to expand vocabulary. Sometimes you don't speak fluently because you don't know the right words. A word diary helps you learn and remember useful vocabulary. How to do it? Write down 5 to 10 new English words every day. Use each word in a sentence to remember it better. At the end of the week, review and use those words in a conversation. Example: new word, excited. Sentence: I am excited to learn English. Why is this effective? You slowly build your vocabulary without feeling overwhelmed. You start using new words naturally in conversations. You feel more confident expressing yourself. 14. Use English in daily life. The best way to learn English is to surround yourself with it. How to do it? Change your phone language to English. Write your to-do list, grocery list, and reminders in English. When thinking, try to form your thoughts in English. Describe your surroundings in English, e.g., I see a beautiful tree outside. Why is this helpful? You practice English without extra effort. Your brain gets used to English thinking. Speaking English feels natural over time. 15. Ask questions instead of just answering. In conversations, don't just give short answers. Ask questions to continue the discussion. Example: boring conversation. A. How are you? B. I'm fine. Stops talking. Better conversation. A. How are you? B. I'm fine. How about you? What did you do today? Keeps the conversation going. Why is this important? You practice longer conversations. You sound more natural and friendly. You become more confident in real-life discussions. 16. Think of English as communication, not perfection. Many learners worry about grammar mistakes while speaking, but real-life English is about communication, not perfection. What to do? Focus on expressing your thoughts instead of using perfect grammar. Even if you make mistakes, continue speaking. If someone corrects you, learn from it instead of feeling embarrassed. Why is this helpful? You speak more confidently without fear. You learn faster because you're actually speaking. You feel relaxed in conversations. 17. Listen more than you speak. Speaking fluently doesn't mean just talking. It also means understanding what others say. How to improve listening. How to improve listening. Listen to English podcasts, audiobooks, and movies without subtitles. Pay attention to how native speakers pronounce words and express emotions. Try to repeat sentences after hearing them. Why is this useful? You learn correct pronunciation naturally. You understand English speakers better in real life. You pick up new phrases and expressions. 18. Set a speaking goal. Every day, consistency is the key to improvement. If you practice speaking every day, it will feel easier over time. How to do it? Set a goal like, I will speak in English for 10 minutes today. Choose a topic and talk about it. Challenge yourself to speak longer each day. Example goals. Day 1. Introduce yourself in English for 2 minutes. Day 2. Talk about your daily routine for 5 minutes. Day 3. Tell a short story in English for 10 minutes. Why does this work? You stay motivated and track progress. Speaking English becomes a daily habit. Your confidence grows step by step. 19. Use English songs to improve pronunciation. Songs are a fun way to improve pronunciation and fluency. How to do it? Choose a simple English song with clear lyrics. Listen and read the lyrics while singing along. Try to match the pronunciation and rhythm of the singer. Why is this effective? It helps you speak more smoothly and naturally. You practice pronunciation in an enjoyable way. You remember new words and phrases easily. 20. Be patient and enjoy the process of learning English. Takes time, and fluency does not happen overnight. But if you practice every day, you will improve. What to remember? Speaking English is a journey, not a race. Enjoy the process and have fun while learning. Celebrate small progress. Every improvement is a success. Why is this important? You stay motivated and don't give up. Learning English feels easier and more enjoyable. You gain confidence and fluency naturally. Hello, my dear friends. Today, I am sharing my story about how talking in English became so easy for me. If you are someone who understands English but struggles to speak, this story is for you. I know how frustrating it feels when words don't come out fluently, when you hesitate, or when you feel nervous about making mistakes. I was the same, but today I can talk in English with confidence. How did that happen? Let me take you on my journey. First, let me tell you something important. Speaking English is not difficult. Many people think it is, but that's only because they don't practice in the right way. Learning grammar, memorizing vocabulary, and understanding sentence structures are helpful, but they won't make you a fluent speaker. The only way to speak fluently is by speaking. Yes, just speaking. Even if you make mistakes, even if you don't know all the words, even if your pronunciation is not perfect, just speak. The more you speak, the easier it becomes. I realized this truth late, but once I did, everything changed. I stopped waiting for the perfect moment, and I started talking in English every day. Now, let me tell you my full story. My name is Alex. I'm 20 years old, and I live in a small town. I always wanted to speak English fluently, but I was too scared. In school, I was good at writing and reading, but whenever I had to speak, I froze. My words wouldn't come out. I felt like I knew English, but I just couldn't speak it. One day, I was watching a video about a man who learned English by talking to himself every day. He said, "If you want to speak English, you must speak English." That sentence changed my mindset. I realized that I had been waiting for the right moment, the right teacher, or the right environment. But the truth was, I could start speaking English anytime. I didn't need permission. That day, I made a decision. I would speak English no matter what. I stood in front of a mirror and started talking. At first, I felt silly. I didn't know what to say, so I just described my day. Today, I woke up early. I ate breakfast. I went to college. It was simple, but it was a start. After a week, I noticed a change. Speaking in English didn't feel strange anymore. I became comfortable hearing my own voice in English. Next, I started thinking in English. This was a game changer. Before, whenever I had to speak, I first thought in my native language and then translated it into English. This made my speech slow, but now I forced myself to think directly in English. If I saw a tree, I thought, "That's a beautiful tree," instead of thinking in my native language first. To improve further, I started talking to people in English. At first, I was scared. What if they laughed at my mistakes? But then I remembered something. Nobody is perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. So, I gathered my courage and started small conversations with friends. I said hello in English, asked how they were, and tried to keep talking. The more I spoke, the more confident I became. My sentences became smoother, and words came naturally. I also listened to English a lot, podcasts, movies, and songs. I repeated sentences, copied accents, and mimicked native speakers. One day, something amazing happened. I was in a cafe, and a tourist asked me for directions. Without thinking, I answered fluently in English. It felt natural. No hesitation, no fear. just smooth English. That's when I realized talking in English is easy. It was never difficult. I had just been afraid to try. Now, I speak English every day. I enjoy it. I talk to new people. I express my thoughts clearly, and I no longer hesitate. My journey taught me one thing. The key to speaking English is speaking English. As days passed, I kept practicing my English every single day. It had become a habit, like brushing my teeth in the morning or checking my phone. I didn't think about whether I was making mistakes anymore. I just talked, and the more I talked, the easier it became. One day, something unexpected happened. My college announced an English speech competition. The topic was simple: my biggest learning experience. As soon as I heard it, my heart started racing. A competition? Speaking in front of people? In English? I had never done that before, but deep inside, I knew this was my chance. At first, my mind was full of doubts. What if I forget my words? What if I freeze? What if everyone laughs at me? But then, I reminded myself, I had been speaking English every day. I had conversations with friends. I had even helped a tourist. If I could do all that, I could definitely give a speech. I took a deep breath and signed up for the competition. The next few days, I practiced like never before. I stood in front of my mirror and gave my speech again and again. I recorded myself and listened to my own voice. Sometimes I sounded good. Other times I made mistakes, but I didn't stop. I corrected myself and tried again. The day of the competition arrived. I stood on the stage, my hands slightly shaking, my heart pounding. But then, I looked at the audience and remembered something important. This wasn't a test. It was just another opportunity to talk in English. So I smiled and started speaking. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and today I want to share my biggest learning experience with you. A few months ago, I was afraid to speak English. I thought it was difficult. But then, I realized something simple. The only way to speak English is to speak English. So, I started talking every day. At first, it was difficult, but soon it became easy. And today, I am here, standing in front of you, talking in English. As I spoke, I felt a wave of confidence wash over me. I wasn't just saying words, I was sharing my journey. And when I finished, something happened that I never expected. The audience clapped, loudly. Some people even stood up. I had done it. I had spoken in English, in front of a crowd, without fear. After the competition, one of my professors came up to me and said, "Alex, your speech was inspiring. You should consider helping other students who struggle with English." That idea excited me. I had gone from being afraid to speak English to actually helping others learn. So, I started a small group at college where students could practice speaking English together. I shared my methods with them: talking to yourself, thinking in English, starting small conversations. I saw students improve just like I had. One of my friends, David, was just like me before. He was good at English but scared to speak. One day, he asked me, "Alex, how do you speak so easily?" I smiled and told him the same thing I had learned. "David, speaking English is easy. You just have to speak every day. Don't worry about mistakes. Just talk." He listened, and a few weeks later, I saw him confidently talking to someone in English. That was the moment I realized something important. If I could do it, anyone could. Now, looking back, I see how much I have changed. Speaking in English is no longer something I fear. It's something I enjoy. I talk to new people, make new friends, and even help others speak better. My journey isn't just about learning English. It's about growing as a person. After that speech competition, my confidence in speaking English grew stronger. I no longer hesitated when talking to people, whether they were my classmates, professors, or even strangers. It felt natural, like I had been speaking English my whole life. One evening, as I was sitting in a cafe, enjoying my coffee, a group of foreign tourists entered. They seemed confused, looking around, trying to understand the menu. The waiter was struggling to explain, so I decided to help. "Hey, do you need some help?" I asked in English. Their faces lit up. "Oh, yes. We're trying to order, but we don't understand the menu." I smiled and explained each item to them. They thanked me, and we started talking. They were from Canada, traveling through my country for the first time. What amazed me the most was that I was having a full conversation in English, without fear, without hesitation. One of them, Mark, said, "Your English is really good. Have you been speaking it for a long time?" I laughed. "Not really. A year ago, I was scared to even say a sentence in English. But I practiced every day, and now here I am, talking to you guys." He was impressed. "That's amazing. So, you learned by speaking?" "Yes," I said proudly. I just kept talking, no matter how many mistakes I made. That conversation made me realize something important. Speaking English had opened doors for me. It allowed me to connect with people from different parts of the world. It gave me confidence. A few days later, I got a message from my college professor. He wanted me to participate in an event where students would help international visitors. It was a big opportunity. When I arrived at the event, I saw people from different countries, some from the US, some from Australia, some from Europe. They were here for an educational exchange program, and our job was to guide them. At first, I felt a little nervous, but then I reminded myself, I can do this. I've been speaking English every day. So I walked up to a group of visitors and introduced myself. "Hi, my name is Alex. I'll be your guide today." They smiled and responded warmly. From that moment, everything felt easy. I led them around the campus, explaining everything in English, answering their questions, even making jokes. It felt effortless. After the event, one of the visitors, a professor from England, approached me. "Alex, you have a natural way of speaking English. Have you considered teaching or helping others learn?" That question made me think. Teaching English? I had never thought about it before, but I had already been helping my friends. Maybe I could do more. That night, I sat in my room, thinking about my journey. A year ago, I was afraid to speak English. Now, I was guiding international visitors, having conversations with foreigners, and even being encouraged to teach. It all started with one simple step. I decided to talk. I realized that speaking English wasn't just about learning a language. It was about confidence, opportunities, and personal growth. A week later, I took my next step. I started an online group for students who wanted to practice speaking English. I called it Talk English with Confidence. Every evening, We had video calls where we talked about different topics. At first, some students were shy, just like I had been, but I encouraged them the same way I encouraged myself. Just speak, I told them. Forget about mistakes. Just talk. Slowly, I saw them improve. I saw the same transformation in them that I had experienced. And that's when I truly understood. Talking in English is easy. It's not about perfection. It's about trying, practicing, and enjoying the process. As days turned into weeks, my online group, Talk English with Confidence, started growing. More and more students joined, eager to improve their speaking skills. Some were shy, some were afraid of making mistakes, and some had never spoken English outside of their classrooms. But I knew exactly how they felt, because I had been in their place before. Every evening, we would pick a topic and just talk. It didn't matter if someone made mistakes. What mattered was that they were speaking. I reminded them again and again, talking in English is easy. Just start. Don't stop yourself. One day, a girl named Sophia joined our group. She messaged me privately, saying, "Alex, I can understand English, but I can't speak. I get nervous and my mind goes blank. What should I do?" I smiled, because that was exactly how I used to feel. So I told her, "Sophia, do one thing. Start talking to yourself in English. Every morning, say something simple like, 'Today, I will have breakfast and then go to class.' Do this every day and you'll see the difference." She hesitated but agreed to try. A week later, she sent me a voice message, excited. "Alex, I talked to myself for 7 days, and now I feel more comfortable. I even answered a question in English during my class." That message made me so happy. I realized that what worked for me was working for others too. One day, something amazing happened. My English professor called me to his office. "Alex, I've been hearing about your online group," he said. "You're helping so many students. We want you to lead a real-life English conversation club at our college." I couldn't believe it. Me? Leading an English-speaking club? A year ago, I was too scared to even say a full sentence in English, and now my college wanted me to guide others. Of course, I said yes. The first meeting of our English club was small, only about 10 students. But as the weeks passed, more people joined. We played English-speaking games, had group discussions, and even practiced storytelling. Some students who had never spoken in English before were now speaking confidently. I watched them grow, and I saw myself in them. One evening, my best friend David came up to me after a session. He laughed and said, "Alex, do you realize something? A year ago, you were the one asking for advice on how to speak English. And now, look at you. You're teaching others." He was right. I had come full circle. But my journey wasn't over yet. One day, I got an email from a local radio station. They had heard about our English club and wanted to invite me for an interview. They wanted me to share my story, how I went from being afraid to speak English to helping others speak with confidence. At first, I was shocked. A radio interview? Talking in English on air? A small part of me felt nervous, but then I reminded myself, talking in English is easy. I had proved it again and again. So, I accepted the invitation. The day of the interview arrived. As I sat in front of the microphone, I felt a sense of déjà vu. It was just like the speech competition from months ago. But this time, I wasn't scared. The interviewer smiled and said, "Alex, tell us your story." I took a deep breath and spoke. I told them about my struggles, my fear of speaking, my practice methods, my online group, and the English club. I told them everything, and when the interview ended, I felt something incredible. I had shared my journey with the world. After that interview, more students reached out to me. Some wanted to join our club, others wanted advice, and some just wanted to thank me for inspiring them. And that's when I realized speaking English isn't just a skill, it's a journey of growth, confidence, and new opportunities. After that radio interview, my life changed in ways I never expected. More people started recognizing me at college. Some students who had never spoken to me before would come up and say, "Hey Alex, I heard your interview. It was so inspiring." Others messaged me online, asking for tips on how to improve their English. It felt incredible to know that my journey was motivating others. But at the same time, I knew that this was just the beginning. There was still so much more I could do. One evening, as I was going through the messages in my inbox, I saw one that caught my attention. It was from a teacher at a nearby school. "Hello, Alex. My name is Mr. Collins. I'm an English teacher at Greenfield High School. I recently heard your interview on the radio, and I was very impressed by your story. Many of my students struggle with speaking English, just like you once did. Would you be willing to visit our school and talk to them?" I stared at the message for a long time. Me? Speaking to a group of high school students? It felt surreal. A year ago, I was too nervous to even introduce myself in English, and now a teacher was inviting me to give a talk? I took a deep breath and replied, "I would love to." A week later, I arrived at Greenfield High School. Mr. Collins greeted me with a warm smile and led me to the classroom. Inside, about 30 students were waiting. Some looked excited, others looked nervous, just like I used to feel. I stood in front of them and smiled. "Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and today I want to share something with you. A year ago, I was just like you. I understood English, but I couldn't speak it. I was afraid of making mistakes. But then, I decided to change that. And today, I want to help you do the same." I could see their expressions change. They were curious, interested. So, I told them everything. How I started talking to myself. How I practiced every day. How I stopped worrying about mistakes. Then I said, "Let's try something. I want each of you to say one sentence in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just say anything." At first, they hesitated, but slowly, one by one, they started speaking. Some made mistakes, some laughed nervously, but I encouraged them. "See? You're already speaking English. The hardest part is starting, and you've already done that." By the end of the session, the students looked more confident. One girl raised her hand and said, "Alex, I was always scared of speaking English, but today I feel like I can do it. Thank you." That moment meant everything to me. As I left the school, Mr. Collins shook my hand. "Alex, you have a gift. You don't just speak English. You inspire others to do the same. Keep going." That night, I sat in my room, thinking about everything that had happened. My journey had started with one simple step, deciding to speak English. And now, it was helping so many others. I realized that speaking English wasn't just a skill, it was a way to connect with people, to build confidence, to open new opportunities. And I knew that this was only the beginning. A few weeks after my visit to Greenfield High School, something unexpected happened. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Hello, Alex. My name is Rachel, and I'm a journalist from the local news network. I heard about your work in helping students speak English with confidence. Would you be open to doing a feature story with us? We'd love to share your journey with a wider audience." I couldn't believe it. First, the radio interview, then the school visit, and now a news feature? It felt like a dream. I took a deep breath before replying, "Yes, I'd be honored." A few days later, I found myself sitting in front of a camera in a studio, bright lights shining on me. Rachel smiled warmly as she began the interview. "Alex, your journey is inspiring. Let's start from the beginning. How did you go from being afraid to speak English to helping so many others?" I smiled. It all started with one simple realization. Talking in English is easy. We just make it difficult in our minds. I used to be scared of making mistakes, but once I stopped caring about being perfect, everything changed. I shared my story, my struggles, my practice methods, my online group, the speech competition, the English club, and my visit to Greenfield High School. I wanted to make sure that everyone watching understood that they could do it too. Then Rachel asked, "Many people feel nervous about speaking English. What advice would you give them?" I looked into the camera and spoke from my heart. The biggest mistake we make is waiting until we feel ready to speak. But the truth is, the only way to feel ready is to start speaking. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They are proof that you're learning. Talk to yourself, talk to your friends, join a group. Just keep talking. Because the more you speak, the easier it gets. The interview aired on TV the following week, and I received countless messages from people thanking me. Some were students, some were professionals, and some were even parents who wanted to help their children learn English. One message stood out. It was from a man named Mr. Patel. "Alex, I watched your interview with my son. He struggles with speaking English, and he always feels discouraged. But after watching you, he said, 'If Alex can do it, so can I.' Thank you for inspiring him." That message made me emotional. I realized that my journey wasn't just about me anymore. It was about everyone who had ever felt scared to speak English. That's when I made a decision. I wanted to do something bigger, something that could help more people. I started a Talk English with Confidence YouTube channel. At first, I was nervous about speaking on camera, but I reminded myself, talking in English is easy. In my first video, I shared my story and gave simple tips for speaking English with confidence. To my surprise, the video got thousands of views within a few weeks. People from different countries commented, saying how much it helped them. Encouraged by the response, I started posting more videos, real conversations, common mistakes, daily practice methods. The channel grew, and soon, I was connecting with people from all over the world. One day, I received an email from a school in another country. The teacher wrote, "Alex, our students watch your videos every day. They practice speaking English using your tips. You have made a difference in their lives. Thank you." I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling overwhelmed. A year ago, I was too scared to speak English. Now, I was helping students in another country learn. At that moment, I realized something important. Language is not just words, it's a bridge, a way to connect with the world. And my journey was proof that anyone could cross that bridge. A few months later, something unexpected happened, something that would change my life once again. One evening, as I was going through comments on my YouTube channel, I noticed a message from a username I didn't recognize. "Hello, Alex. My name is Daniel. I have been watching your videos for months, and they have helped me a lot. But I have a problem. I can understand English, and I can even speak a little, but I feel stuck. No matter how much I practice, I can't seem to improve. I don't know what to do. Can you help me?" I had received many messages before, but something about Daniel's message felt different. I could sense his frustration. I remembered how I once felt the same way, stuck and unsure of how to move forward. So I replied, "Daniel, I understand exactly how you feel. Let's talk. Do you want to have a video call?" To my surprise, he responded almost immediately, "Yes! I would love that." The next day, we set up a call. When the screen lit up, I saw a young man, probably around my age, sitting in a small room with books stacked behind him. "Hey, Daniel!" I greeted him with a smile. He smiled back nervously. "Hi, Alex. So, tell me more. What exactly is the problem?" I asked. Daniel sighed. "I practice every day. I watch English movies, listen to podcasts, and even talk to myself. But whenever I try to have a real conversation with someone, my mind goes blank. It's like, I know English, but I can't use it properly." I nodded. "I get it. You have all the knowledge, but when it's time to speak, you freeze, right?" "Exactly," he said, looking relieved that someone understood. "Okay, let's do a quick test," I said. "Right now, without thinking too much, tell me about your favorite food." Daniel hesitated. I like, pizza because it, uh, tastes good." I smiled. "See? You already spoke English. The problem isn't your knowledge, it's your hesitation. You're thinking too much about making mistakes." Daniel sighed again. "But what if I say something wrong?" I leaned forward. "Then you learn from it. Mistakes are your best teacher. Let's try again. This time, don't stop. Just keep talking, even if you make mistakes." We practiced for an hour. At first, he was hesitant, but as we continued, he started speaking more freely. By the end of the call, he was smiling. "Wow, Alex, that was amazing. I never realized I was holding myself back so much." I grinned. "That's the secret. Stop worrying and start talking. The more you speak, the easier it gets." Daniel thanked me, and we promised to have another call soon. But what I didn't know was that this simple call would lead to something much bigger. A new mission. A week later, Daniel messaged me again. "Alex, I was thinking, I'm sure there are many people like me who feel stuck. What if we create a group where people can practice speaking together?" I stared at the message, excited. "That's a brilliant idea," I replied. Within days, we created an online English speaking club where people from different countries could join live sessions and practice conversations with each other. At first, we had just a few members, but as word spread, more and more people joined. Soon, we had hundreds of members practicing English together every day. And then, something incredible happened. A woman named Sophia, who had joined our club, sent me a message. Alex, I just had my first conversation in English with a foreign client at work. I was nervous, but I remembered what you said. Just keep talking. And it worked. Thank you so much. That message brought tears to my eyes. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was bigger. People were overcoming their fear. People were improving. People were changing their lives, all because they decided to start talking. And in that moment, I knew this was only the beginning of something even greater. The unexpected invitation. A few months after launching our English speaking club, something surprising happened. I received an email from a man named Mr. Harrison. Hello, Alex. My name is Mr. Harrison, and I am the head of the International Language Learning Conference. I have been following your journey, and I must say, your efforts to help people speak English with confidence are truly inspiring. We would love to invite you as a guest speaker at our upcoming event in London. You will have the opportunity to share your story and inspire thousands of English learners from around the world. Please let us know if you're interested. I read the email twice, then a third time. My heart started pounding. Me? Speaking at an international conference? Just a year ago, I was too afraid to speak English in front of people. And now, I was being invited to speak on stage in front of thousands. It felt unreal, but I knew this was a chance I couldn't miss. I took a deep breath and replied, Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison. I would be honored to attend. Facing my biggest challenge. Yet the weeks leading up to the conference were intense. I practiced my speech every day, making sure my message was clear. I wanted to tell people that talking in English is easy, that they didn't need to be afraid anymore. But as the event got closer, a strange fear started creeping into my mind. What if I mess up? What if I forget my words? What if people don't understand me? The irony wasn't lost on me. I had spent so much time helping others overcome their fear of speaking English, yet here I was, battling my own. The night before my flight to London, I sat alone in my room, staring at my speech. I felt nervous, doubtful. But then I remembered something. The first time I spoke English with confidence was when I stopped thinking and just started talking. I smiled to myself. Alex, you've got this. The big moment. When I arrived at the conference hall, I was amazed. The venue was massive, filled with people from different countries. I took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The bright lights shone on me, and thousands of eyes were on me. For a moment, I felt frozen. But then I smiled and said, Hello, my dear friends. The audience clapped, and I felt my nerves disappear. A few years ago, I was just like many of you. I understood English, but I was afraid to speak. I thought I needed to be perfect. I was wrong. The truth is, talking in English is easy if we stop worrying and just start speaking. I shared my journey. I talked about my struggles, my online club, and the hundreds of people I had met along the way. As I spoke, I saw people nodding, smiling, even wiping away tears. By the time I finished, The entire hall erupted in applause. I had done it. I had spoken English with confidence on an international stage. A new beginning after the event. People came up to me, thanking me for inspiring them. Some even asked if they could join my English speaking club. And then, Mr. Harrison approached me with a smile. "Alex, that was incredible. I have another offer for you. How would you feel about traveling to different countries and helping people speak English?" I felt my heart race. Me? Traveling the world? Helping even more people? I smiled. Yes, I would love that. The journey continues. From that day on, my life changed forever. I traveled to different countries, met thousands of English learners, and helped them overcome their fears. And every time someone told me, "I can't speak English," I smiled and said, "Talking in English is easy. You just have to start." And that, my dear friends, is how I turned my fear into a mission to help the world. And if I can do it, so can you. A new adventure begins after the conference. My life became a whirlwind of new experiences. Invitations started pouring in from different countries, schools, universities, language institutes, even corporate companies wanted me to speak about how to overcome the fear of talking in English. I traveled to places I had only dreamed of visiting: Paris, Tokyo, Dubai, New York. Each time, I met people who had the same struggle I once had, and every time, I told them the same thing. Talking in English is easy. You just have to start. But while I was helping others, something inside me was changing too. I had spent so much time focusing on teaching and speaking that I hadn't thought about what was next for me. Was this my life now? Traveling and teaching? Or was there something bigger waiting for me? That's when an unexpected opportunity knocked on my door. The television interview one day, I received an email from a famous international news channel. "Dear Alex, we have been following your journey, and we believe your story is truly inspiring. We would love to invite you for a live television interview to share your experience with millions of viewers. Please let us know if you are interested." Millions of viewers? My hands trembled as I read the email. Speaking at conferences was one thing, but appearing on live television? That was an entirely different level. But I knew I couldn't back down. I replied, "Thank you so much. I would love to be part of the show." A week later, I found myself sitting in a huge studio, bright lights shining down on me. The host, a well-known journalist, smiled and said, "Welcome, Alex. You've helped thousands of people overcome their fear of speaking English. Tell us, what is the secret?" I took a deep breath and looked into the camera. The secret is simple. Most people think they need perfect grammar, a big vocabulary, or years of study before they can talk in English. But that's not true. The real key is confidence. You have to start speaking, even if you make mistakes. That's how you learn. The host nodded. That's powerful advice. But many people are still scared. What would you say to someone who feels too afraid to speak? I smiled. I would tell them, think of a child. When a child learns to speak, do they worry about mistakes? No, they just speak, and that's how they improve. Adults need to do the same. The interview lasted an hour, and by the end, the response was overwhelming. My inbox was flooded with messages from people around the world thanking me. But the biggest surprise came the next morning, an invitation that changed everything. I woke up to a call from an unknown number. Hello, Alex. This is Mr. Johnson, the director of the Global English Academy. We saw your interview, and we are impressed by your approach to teaching English. We have a proposal for you. A proposal? I asked, curious. Yes. We want you to create an English-speaking course for our platform. A course that will help people all over the world talk in English with confidence. Are you interested? I was speechless. An English-speaking course? Me? I had never thought about this before. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized this was the next step. I had helped thousands through my videos and speeches, but with a course, I could reach millions. With a smile, I replied, "Yes, I'm interested." The course that changed lives. For the next 6 months, I worked day and night to create a course that would make talking in English easy for everyone. I included everything I had learned: real-life conversations, confidence-building techniques, and practical exercises. When the course was finally launched, the response was unbelievable. Within weeks, thousands of students enrolled. Messages poured in from people saying things like, "Alex, I finally had a conversation in English without fear. Your course changed my life. I can now speak to foreigners without hesitation. Thank you for making English easy." And at that moment, I knew this was my true calling. A full circle moment. One evening, I received a video call from Daniel, the same friend who had once struggled to speak. "Alex, guess what?" he said, grinning. "What?" I asked. "I just got a job in an international company. And you know what? In the interview, I spoke only in English." I felt a lump in my throat. "Daniel, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you." He smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you. You changed my life." As I ended the call, I looked out of my window and smiled. A journey that had started with fear had turned into a mission that was changing lives. And the best part? This was only the beginning. Final message to everyone reading this. I want to tell you one last thing. If I, a boy who was once too scared to speak English, can now help millions talk with confidence, then you can do it too. So don't wait. Don't overthink. Just start talking. A new dream awakens. After the success of my course, I thought I had reached the peak of my journey, but life had more surprises in store for me. One evening, as I was scrolling through messages from students, I came across a comment that caught my attention. "Alex, your course is amazing, but I have a problem. I don't have anyone to practice English with. I understand everything, but I have no confidence because I don't get real conversation practice. What should I do?" I read the comment twice. Then I saw another one just like it, and another. Suddenly, I realized this was a problem many English learners faced. They had knowledge, they had lessons, but they had no one to talk to. That's when a new dream was born. Building something bigger, I spent the next few weeks thinking, how can I solve this problem? Then an idea hit me. What if I create a global community where English learners can practice speaking every day? A place where they could talk to real people, build confidence, and finally overcome their fear of speaking. Excited, I called my best friend, Daniel. "Daniel, I have an idea," I said. "Oh no," he laughed. "Every time you say that, something big happens." I told him about my vision, a platform where learners could join virtual English rooms, practice speaking with people from different countries, and improve their confidence. "That's genius," Daniel said. "Let's do it." And just like that, the next chapter of my journey began, launching the English Speaking Hub. It took months of planning, designing, and working day and night. But finally, we launched our new platform, the English Speaking Hub. It was a simple but powerful idea. Learners could join live video rooms and practice speaking with real people. There were daily conversation topics to help them speak naturally. We even had expert mentors to guide them when needed. At first, only a few people joined, then 100, then 1,000. And before I knew it, the English Speaking Hub had become one of the most popular platforms for English learners around the world. A life-changing message. One day, I received an email from a young man named Rahul from India. "Alex, I want to share my story with you. I used to be terrified of speaking English. Every time I tried, I felt embarrassed. But then I joined the English Speaking Hub. I started talking a little every day. Now, just a few months later, I can confidently speak with anyone. Yesterday, I had a full conversation in English with my boss. I even got a promotion because of my improved communication skills. You changed my life. Thank you." I read the email, and my eyes filled with tears. This was why I started. Not for fame, not for money, but to change lives. A full circle moment. A year later, I stood on another stage, this time in front of thousands of people at a global education conference. I looked at the audience and smiled. A few years ago, I was afraid to speak English. Now I travel the world helping others speak with confidence, and I want to leave you with one message. Talking in English is easy. You just have to start. The audience erupted in applause. And at that moment, I knew this journey would never end. Because as long as people needed confidence, I would be there to help them find their voice. The journey continues. And my dear friends, if you're reading this and still hesitating to speak in English, remember, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need a big vocabulary. You just need to start. Because talking in English is easy, and your journey is just beginning. A new challenge appears. Just when I thought my mission was complete, life threw another challenge my way. One day, while checking messages from learners, I noticed something strange. Many people were saying, "Alex, I can speak English now, but I still feel nervous when I talk to native speakers. I understand them, but sometimes their accents are too fast or too different from what I learned. I practice in the English Speaking Hub, but when I go outside and try talking to real people, I freeze. What should I do?" I sat back and thought about it. These people had overcome their fear of speaking. They were practicing every day, but they still felt uncomfortable in real-life situations. This was a new problem, and I had to find a solution. The real-life English experiment, I decided to test something new. I packed my bag, grabbed my phone, and went outside. My goal? To talk to as many strangers as possible in English and record my experience. I went to the busiest street in my city and started conversations with shopkeepers, tourists, bus drivers, anyone willing to talk. At first, even I felt nervous. But after a few conversations, I realized something. People don't care about perfect English. They just care about communication. Even if I made small mistakes, nobody laughed at me. Nobody judged me. Instead, they smiled, responded, and kept talking. That's when I had an idea. Bringing real-life English to the world, I went back home and started planning something completely new, the Real-Life English Challenge. I made a new rule for my students. Every day, you must go outside and talk to one stranger in English. It can be a shopkeeper, a waiter, or even a tourist. But you must talk. At first, many students hesitated. What if I make a mistake? What if people judge me? What if they don't understand me? But I told them, it doesn't matter. Just try. And slowly, something amazing happened. People started sending me videos of themselves talking to strangers in English. A boy in Brazil asked for directions in English. A girl in Japan ordered food in English. A student in Egypt had a full conversation with a foreign tourist. One by one, they were breaking their fear. And soon, the Real-Life English Challenge went viral. A special surprise months later, I received an invitation to a very special event. TEDx. Yes, I was invited to give a TEDx talk about my journey and how anyone could become a confident English speaker. As I stood on that stage, looking at hundreds of people in the audience and thousands watching online, I took a deep breath and smiled. My dear friends, I began, I used to be afraid to speak English. I thought I needed perfect grammar, a big vocabulary, and years of study before I could talk. But then I realized the only way to get better is to start speaking. And today I stand here to tell you, talking in English is easy. You just have to start. The audience erupted in applause, and at that moment, I knew this was just the beginning of something even bigger. The final message, my dear friends. If you're reading this, I want you to know one thing. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to wait. Just start talking. Because talking in English is easy, and if I can do it, so can you. So go out there, speak, make mistakes, learn, and most importantly, enjoy the journey.